Alright, let's try to record a video because it's 4 a.m. and I feel like it. Oh my god, I just ate a spicy chicken sandwich, so bear with me if I sound like I'm salivating, because I am. I've been thinking about this lately, and I suppose I've talked about it quite often on my other pages, but not quite this one. About the morality of niceness and kindness and goodness. I feel like those are all very different things, you know? Whenever I've talked to people across my life, they also agree with that. I remember I knew a kid named William in my special ed class in high school. He used to say nice used to be meant as an insult. He said that if you were called a nice person, that meant you were stupid. That meant you were dumb as fuck, and that's what it meant back in the day. And so if you're someone who aims to be nice, you're just someone who's just fooling about in life, doing whatever reckless shit feels good, like you're supposed to do it, and not questioning anything and not being your own person. I understand his mindset, but I never agreed with it. And then again, let's just say I was nice to a few people in high school, and let's just say that led to a lot of trauma that led me to where I am almost a decade later. So I'm not saying he has a point, but oof. Then again, William himself was not a nice person. He was the type of guy to just loudly yell in class in a room full of students, calling people slurs and saying fucked up things about women in general. So it's like, yeah, let's not really care too much about what some closeted Republican special ed black kid really has to say. Instead, let's focus on what me, the good kind of leftist, Marxist black special ed kid, has to say. And I'm not in the closet, so it's even better. Woohoo! And before you get mad at me, that's obviously a joke. just calm down. I respect. Well, do I respect everyone's opinions? Not really, but let's. Anyway, let's move on. Don't get mad at me in the comments. I swear to fucking God. But anyway, niceness. I guess this happened. Does anyone remember that music producer guy I talked to you about having a crush on? If you don't, well, I guess I can say a bit of backstory because it's relevant. I had no idea who this man was. I knew that I followed him at some point when I was like 19 or so because I have a bad habit that whenever I break up with someone or end a friendship with someone, I go through their following list on social media and I just snatch whatever cool looking or sexy looking or awesome or based followers they have and I take them for my own because I think to myself, this person's a piece of shit. They don't deserve these cool ass friends. I deserve cool ass friends. And then I curse out that person and block them. And then, funny enough, years can go by before I realize, like, oh shit, I know how I became friends with you. That's because of that ex I had when I was 17. Ooh, and it's just like a funny thing that's happened multiple times. Some friends to this day don't, like hell, I even technically got one of my boyfriends that way. Life is funny like that. And that's not particularly the most good thing to do, but it still happened. And if it didn't happen, if my crazy ass didn't do that, then let's just say I would have not had a wonderful year-long relationship with someone who was very mentally, let's just say, not everyone had a good time during the pandemic. And because I was nutty enough when I was like 19 to like technically take one dude's friend, at least temporarily, and then when I ended friendships with that guy, I took his friends, and then next thing you know, that led to my wonderful relationship with my ex Liam. God bless Liam, we adore him. Funny how life works out. But either way, the ends justify the means, and me and Liam are still on good terms. If anything, like I was just talking to him a second ago, giving him advice on how to handle sickness and stuff. I know I didn't need to. I didn't need to. Like, he hit me up a second ago. He said, I'm feeling sick. I don't know. My throat's feeling scratchy. I hope I'm not sick. And then me, I jumped to give advice. I know I don't need to, but I wanted to. And also, like, it just was the nice thing to do. I told him, hey, if it helps, what I do is I get some hydrogen peroxide and I mix it with a little bit of water and I gargle it in the back of my throat until it foams up. That way I can at least, like, try to stop the bacteria from worsening in my body or maybe even traveling in my body and going to other places and getting me way more sick. And he seemed grateful for it and he seemed to like that. And I think that's the end goal for most of my niceness. I do it because I think this could be something that could benefit someone's life. And everyone needs a nice person, everyone. But also, it just seems like simple math, you know? Like, for example, I guess let me intermission and say this one story. It's simple math to be nice. It just seems like you do it for the sake of the common good. It's like easy. Like, for example, if you're playing a video game and you see an NPC and they ask for help, do you just walk past them? No, you usually interact and help with them. So here's a scenario. Imagine I'm sitting like on a bus that's headed to Berkeley. And I know that I have nothing to do in Berkeley. I just took the bus because it was available. And that when I get to Berkeley, I'm probably going to walk around idly for like 5 minutes and then inevitably walk back to take the bus going back to the area I want to go. So it's just like a useless bus ride with nothing to do, no plans, no anything. And now imagine this. Imagine a young girl. I remember her name, Vivian. And I remember that she came up to me and she was like, "Excuse me, I'm looking for the Berkeley BART station. Is there any chance you know where that is?" And me, I definitely knew where that is because I've walked past it idly plenty of times. Now here's an equation for you. Which do you think would have been the smart or nice or good thing to do? Should I have said, "Oh yeah, it's this way, that way, and the other way," and just vaguely pointed? Should I have ignored her? Should I have pretended I had no idea what she was talking about? Should I have said something fucked up? Or should I just like simply put, if I'm already going to be walking in the area within a 5 minute radius, and I know the Berkeley BART station is in a 5 minute radius, and it does absolutely nothing to like fuck up my day whatsoever, then I'm going to do it. And so I did it. And she would not stop gushing about it. She was like, "Oh my God, really? You're gonna walk me there? You don't have to. You don't." And I was like, "I want to. It's cool. It's no issue to me at all. No trouble, no problem." And I walked with her to the Berkeley BART, and she was so grateful. She was blushing, and she's like, "You are so nice. Oh my God, you're so nice. I wish more people were like you. What makes you such a nice person?" And I kind of feel bad when people say things like that, because then it makes me immediately think of all the times I wasn't a nice person. Like, the times I've cussed out customer service workers on chat forums and stuff. The times I've been mean to people on Reddit. The times I have said yo mama jokes on Instagram comment sections. Some unsavory things I did to certain exes between the ages of 17 and 19, usually to their property, but let's plead the fifth on that. Like, and then I get a rush of memories and it's like, oh, right. But I still tell myself I am an objectively nice and or good person. But it's like, just because I'm not the most sweet angel from heaven doesn't mean I don't deserve nice moments where people treat me nice back. And so I said, "Oh, thank you so much. I really value and appreciate hearing that." And I really did because I was having a rough time and I'm glad that I could do that for her. And we parted ways. Funny enough, I remember her from middle school and she doesn't remember me. But, that's not entirely related. But I'm sure I could have freaked her out by saying, "Hello, Vivian. Nice to see you again." I think I even know her full name, but it's been like a decade, and I know that would scare the shit out of her, and it's not exactly nice to scare the shit out of people. Plus, I was entirely fine with not seeing her again or not leaving, like a temporary thing. But either way, it felt nice to do something nice, and it just seemed like basic common math. Like, I would have lost nothing by doing so, and it would have caused me no harm, so why not do it? Now, funny enough, with this exact same bus, I remember I was rushing to a bus stop and I was simply at the crosswalk and the bus hadn't taken off yet and it actually paused. And this woman, she got off the bus and I spotted her and another older man. Now, the old man, he already got off the bus quicker than she did, so he couldn't hold the bus. But she could. And as I crossed the street running and sprinting, I said, "Hold the bus. Can you tell them to hold the bus, please? Please help. I want to make the bus." And then this bitch, she just, instead of taking like 2 footsteps and saying, "Oh, excuse me, a lady's on her way," this fucking ugly ass double chin, receding hairline, fucked up in the face, bleach blonde, bad built, butch body looking ass Amy Schumer whore. This stupid fucking cunt. Guess what she did? She just stood there, hands on her hips, and just like, and mind you, there was hella time where she could have held the fucking bus. Like, it would have cost her maybe like 4 seconds, maybe even like at absolute maximum like 6 seconds. Since she wasn't moving or anything, she had no reason to do that. She just stood there, hands on her hips, and stared me down with the fucking "ooh, my parents were cousins" ass stare. No, more like their parents were siblings. Her eyes were kind of like, she was busted. But she was still mentally sound though, just a bitch and not very smart. Anyway, let's just say, yeah, as you can imagine, the bus took off like as I was a few mere feet away from reaching it. And me, because I figured she's not very nice, and why does she get to be not nice and I have to be nice? Because I said, can you hold the bus, please, please, please? And she stared me dead in my face and just snarled at me and then didn't whatsoever and let the bus drive past. So as I almost, so as I was rushing past to see if I could still make the bus before it fully 100% took off, but it was still like 60% took off, I ran past that girl and I said, fucking cunt, in her ear. And then the old man saw that and he laughed his ass off. But he did try to hold the bus for me, and he was a sweet man. I'm just saying, if it does no harm and you can do good to someone's life, why not do it? Otherwise, you're a weird fucking bitch. I'm just saying. Now, and also, I guess one can also talk about, do nice, good people body shame? Do nice, good, moral people say bad things about others on the internet? Like I said, I'm not a total angel descended from heaven, but sometimes people think I am or wrongly assume that I am. I'm a person like anybody else. I'm just also really cool and stuff, and so are other people. And it can be very disappointing to learn when some people are not quite as nice or good or are complex. And, everyone's got their things. Someone even said on Twitter today, they were like, hey, everybody has their own confusing spectrums of mismatched emotions and politics and all that. Like there was a trend about like what's your wokest take and what's your least woke take. And if you saw my wokest takes compared to my least woke takes, you would probably not believe it was from the same person. But they are. And like just because I have my opinions on language barriers and people who are of certain shapes and sizes does not mean that they don't deserve respect and love and care. And I still think they should be allowed to exist peacefully in the country and in the planet. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, now this segues into the next aspect. The music producer guy I had a crush on. I remember, like I said, he posted on his story, and I didn't even know that I followed him. And I was like, this guy's profile picture looks familiar. And I kind of was like, oh, right, I think this is one of those people I stole from an ex's, like, Instagram account, like when I was like 19 or so. I can't believe he's still around. And I recognized it also because it said that they were from Denver, Colorado on their profile. And I was like, oh, yeah, most definitely. This is someone who's like definitely in touch with that one guy who I punched in the face when I was 19. Yeah, yeah, that ex boyfriend, that mistake of a person. Oof, that wasn't very nice of me. But guess what? We're in, like, as I was saying like a few weeks ago, the music producer guy posted on his story that his apartment like flooded out of nowhere, and all his shit was like flooded with water. And I just thought to myself, that's so fucked. That's hella fucked. I feel bad for this dude. And I thought he was, but for a second, I didn't actually. Now that I remember, like at some point, I forgot that he was in Colorado. I thought he was in my area. So I was like, hey, dude, just so you know, like if your landlord tries some shit, I think he's legally supposed to like house you, like and like set up housing for you because this is his fault, not yours, or at least some sort of compensation or something. And I know you just posted about how you just paid your rent too, and I said I can send you some tenants rights information about our area if you want. He was like, you're so sweet, but thank you, I'm actually not in your area at all, I'm in Colorado. And I said, oh, oops, my bad, I totally forgot. So but I still wanted to help the dude, not just because I thought he was attractive, mind you, also because I thought to myself, hey, I know that like last year when I was struggling, what helped me out was when a bunch of people came together to be like, hey, Tamia, here's some tenants' rights information so that you can keep your place and not just be out on the streets. And all because your housemate and landlord want to be fucking liars and shit. So it helped me out, and I wanted to pass on the good because I know how scary it can be. I really do, trust me. And then let's just say me and yeah, music producer guy. I remember I thought to myself, I still want to help this guy out somehow, and I had ChatGPT at my fingertips, and I figured, okay, I'll look this shit up. I looked it up, and I sent him every single like tenants' rights organization I could find and screenshot, and I sent it his direction. I was like, here you go, hope this helps. He said, thank you so much, I really appreciate it. This means a lot to me. And that was it. And I didn't require him to do anything else because I truly did not give a fuck. Like, how do I put this? I'm not saying I don't give a fuck about a situation. I'm just saying sometimes niceness can come as easily to me as like, oh, I'm doing this because I'm bored and it's 2 p.m. and it's a Thursday and I don't know this dude, and maybe he'll entirely ignore my message. Maybe he'll actually appreciate me messaging him to try to help him out, big or small. Either way, if I can have a positive effect on his life, I'll do it. But then, like, he popped into my DMs like a week later. He was like, wow, that was really nice of you. And he told me about how he got like a new place and how luck turned in his favor and things were going well. And he just would not stop asking me, why are you so nice? Like, what makes you like so nice as a person? I said, wouldn't everyone do that? And he said, yeah, but you're not even from my area. And I kind of thought on it. I was like, I don't think, yeah, like, not to suck my own dick or anything. But it's like, yeah, I guess in hindsight, most people wouldn't go, I'm gonna look up how to help some dude who's in another state, like all the way across the country or whatever. And I did. I guess I won't suck my dick about it, but I might give myself a mild pat on the back sometime, one way or another. But either way, I was just happy to help a fella out. Anyway, let's just say one thing led to another, and that's how we started, um, quote unquote, talking, aka him showing me dick pics and occasional flirtations and stuff. Nice, nice, blessings, yay. But even then, I kind of thought to myself for a while after that, I said, I don't know what makes someone a nice or good person. Like, because I guess in my mind, I think to myself, like, there's good people and there's bad people. And then there's complex people. And then, like, is it that sometimes you can meet someone who's a good person at heart, but does bad things because they can, but deep down you know they're not evil? Or can someone be like a really bad person who just does a lot of good? Another example of this actually last year when I was dealing with my own like potential eviction and housing bullshit. I remember my ex-boyfriend Morgan. I remember like he was a disappointment at times, and sometimes just outright dangerous. He was a terrible guy in a lot of ways, but also blessed to me in others. And I remember it meant the most to me when he dropped everything to like take the day off. He rented a U-Haul truck. He spent the day like breaking down my bed frame, moving my heavy ass wood-lined mattress, and putting everything of mine in storage, and moving my heavy ass dresser, and like just he was and helping with every fucking thing he could. And I remember how sweet he was and how he cried into my arms and into my chest about how much he would miss me because I thought I was going to have to move to Vegas or some shit, or out the country, or out the state. I didn't know where I'd go. I just figured, hey, I'll figure it out one way or another. Imagine the plot twist of like, yeah, like he was out here crying and shit. Like, I wanted to marry you. I wanted to have kids with you. I thought we'd have a life together. Maybe one day you'll come back and we can be together and I'll call you when we get the chance. And he was so sweet. Imagine my shock when it was like 2 weeks later, he tried to rape me. Yeah. And it was bad. Don't worry, I whipped his fucking ass because, like I said, some people are anti violence against men. I don't believe men deserve violence, but I believe that the men who do deserve violence, you should go all the fuck out on them. I'm just saying. Like that nigga who manipulated me when I was like 19 or whatever, it's still debatable on if he deserved that or not. Some people say you should have beat his ass to me, as some people say, oh, it's not good that you whacked him in the face and made his nose bleed. That's debatable. But in terms of Morgan, it's like, yeah, nigga, you deserved the fucking Lionel Richie's ex-wife ass whooping, like in that fucking Boondocks episode. And you deserved everything. Like, oh my god, it was an astronomically great ass whooping. I'm talking like foot on his balls, foot on his dick, knee to the chest, knee to the gut, punch in the face, toss on the, like, I was going ham because it's like, you're not about to fuck me up. And it was, oof, I'm just saying. And yeah, and I think like with him for a while, I just thought to myself, how can this be the same person? How can the person who wanted to make sure I was safe and sound and cared about me and loved me 2 weeks ago suddenly be the guy who's acting like I don't matter to him and trying to talk to other bitches and is out here trying to sexually assault me and is trying to be evil to me and hurt me? And he knows, like, he saw me crying and he was still trying to pin me down and block the exits, and just, it was awful. It's okay, I made it fun. I whooped his ass and made him cry, made him feel pain. Suddenly he learned that no meant no very fucking quickly when he was the one screaming it. He had it coming, he had it coming, he had it coming all along. If you'd have been there, if you'd have seen it, how could you tell me that we were wrong? Pop, twist, six, Cicero. I love that song. But yeah. And I don't know, there's been other times in my life where I've dated people and I just thought to myself, how can someone be so good and so bad at the same time? And I can't stand it. I really can't. But I don't know. Like, for example, even with me, I've been threatened with restraining orders multiple times, but the people still didn't file them. Not just because they didn't have enough substantial evidence and because cops are fucking useless, but because they also went, you know what, Tamia's really sweet and she had a fucked up home life and her mom is an evil bitch. It makes a lot of sense that she's the way she is because look at the way her housing is with her fucking with the way like, if you knew how bad shit was when I was really young and how that fucked with my mentality for years. Like, I'm grateful that they didn't, or at least couldn't, file restraining orders. But yeah. It also helped that they knew next to nothing about my, like, any real identifiable information against me as well. But, like, still. They still, for the most part, were like, she is a nice girl and she's been nice to me and she's cared. Like, they always told me that they liked me. They were not men who could admit their own mistakes, but they could at least admit, like, how they didn't see me as, like, some flawed, evil individual. They just thought I was a girl who was going through a lot. They didn't want to admit that they were the fucking cause, but they still had it in them to be like, she's sweet, she doesn't deserve to go to jail, or to, like, have a stain on her record, or be prevented from certain jobs or income levels, and I'm grateful for that. Even though I know to this day that if I saw some of those men in public, oh, you don't want to know. I'm just saying. It would get real scary, bitch. But I guess I can say I am a nice person because even though I am no longer, like, how do I put this? Enough time has passed where if I wanted to commit a crime against certain people and get away with it, I probably could. I probably could. I could make a stone solid alibi. I could do this, I could do that. Like, there are some people I could really get my revenge on right fucking now in some of the most evil ways you can think of. And instead, I'm not. Not inherently because I'm nice, also just because I'm a little bit bored. Or because I just don't see them as worth my time and I know that they're going to fuck up their life on their own, so I don't even need to get involved. But some other people, it's also just because it's like, you know what? This nigga prayed for me. Even though he was a fucking demon himself, he still prayed for me. And he prayed that I would go through good times and just, like, not struggle and have a nice life. Even though he contributed to the struggle, I'll at least still, like, yeah, I'll be decent enough to be like, I will forget about you. I will just kind of. I will repress memories of you. I will never forget what you fucking did. And even if I do, you just better be lucky that all I'm doing is reminiscing about you on the internet in a negative fucking way and not coming to get that ass. And by get that ass, I'm not talking like creepy. I mean, like, beating that ass, you know? I'm not creepy. Yeah. At least not in that way. Anyway. And, like, yeah, like I said, I'm a complex person myself. I've been threatened with plenty of restraining orders. I've done some very fucked up shit to people's lives. Very fucked up shit. Some stuff I'm not even sure I want to talk about. I could, though, and I probably will someday. I just want to let time pass first. And, I think a lot of people have a past. A lot of people have skeletons in their closet and things they've done that they're not fucking proud of, but it doesn't always mean they're terrible people. But it at least, like, a quote I heard is this. They say that bad people don't care about if they're bad or not. They just do. And that means that usually you can tell if you're a bad person or not. Because you feel bad, you feel sad, you feel remorse. And then again, I don't know. My mom felt, like, sad about shit that she did to me. But then because of her, like, ego and mind issues and all that, she'd usually go from, oh, I think I disappointed Tamia, like, by 2%. She seems like 2% slightly upset. The whole time I was not upset. And then in her brain, she'd be like, actually, fuck Tamia. I'm her mother. I gave her life. I sacrificed a lot to have her. If anything, I should be mad at her for even thinking about getting mad at me. And then she'd lash out on me and then go from 0 to 1,000. And it's like, what the fuck? And then if you even dared to be like, I was entirely fine, what are you doing? Then she would just take it to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. And let's just say we're estranged for a reason. In terms of her, I don't think she's a good person. I think that at some point when I was young, she probably was a good enough person. I think someone's morality can change with time depending on what they choose to do. So if you're someone who chooses evil, then I don't know what you want me to fucking tell you. If you're someone who chooses to be a cunt or an evil person or a bad person, and you choose that actively, and you don't plan to become anything ever different, then you can't complain when people see you as a bad person. Because if my mom did stop her abusive shit when she was like young and then like vowed to never do that again, maybe I could brush that off and be like, oh yeah, that was extremely fucked up and traumatic, but she did the inner work, she got the therapy, she tried her best to never do it again, and like it was all sunshine and smiles and healthy communication from that point on. Then I could be like, oh well, she was a young parent, she suffered through a lot, things were complicated for her. But no, she didn't. She decided to be that way her whole fucking life and actually worsen and worsen and worsen. And that's why at 24 years of age I still have scars on my face from her that are healing still. So I think it's all a matter of if a person wants to be good or not. And that's the thing. I aim to be good. I have done bad things to people, especially when I've been scorned in love, because my body really just reacts terribly to it. It's so bad. Then again, I've already made enough videos about how terrible my dating life can be and how I've met plenty of hypocritical or weird or lying or manipulative or strange and stupid people who just would do things that didn't make sense. And I remember this guy, JC, I knew him in high school when I was like, I don't know, like 15 or something. He was like a year older. I thought he was so handsome. Let's just say we hardly talked at all until I remember I got out of a fucked up relationship when I was like 19, 20 and suicidal. He just so happened to be one of the people I called up and left a sad voicemail to. And he was nice enough that he called me. He didn't need to. I was just some random girl. An entirely random girl who he vaguely knew for like a few weeks in like high school, sophomore year for me, junior year for him. And he was nice and he was sweet. And he checked in on me and saw how I was doing and asked questions about my life. And he tried his best despite how he does not have any experience with like mental health and stuff. And I thought that was so kind. Let's just say eventually later on, he kind of used me for sex and was a dick about it. I didn't respond well. Let's just say certain things got sent to his family. And you can imagine how a Catholic Mexican family would react if they found out, oh, you almost got this bitch pregnant. You were having sex with this girl and doing this and that. And the car we got for you. And they were raging and raging and raging. He didn't tell me about any of that. But I do know that at some point, like with time, he met up with me again. And his energy was strange in a lot of ways. I don't fully quite remember if this was like the first time we met after one of my fucked up relationships at 19 or 20, or like I don't really remember. Let's just say he I remember he kind of gave me a creepy smile like before trying to kiss me, and he was like, because you've never done anything wrong in your life, Tamia, you wouldn't do anything to hurt me. But something about the tone in his voice, it had the perfect mix of like accusatory and like threatening, but still like innocent enough where he had plausible deniability to just totally have meant that innocuously. Like he was like, Tamia, you're so pretty and smart and sweet, and you would never do anything to hurt me. And I have a conscience, believe it or not. And I felt bad, and I just kind of huffed and paused, and I said, no, I did something to hurt you. And he was like, and he was kind of taken off guard, and I just fully said, I contacted your family with a bunch of screenshots of us having sex. I mean, not us having sex. No, sorry. Screenshots of our texts about how we had sex and like the meetups we had and stuff. I wanted to embarrass him and piss him off. And so, but, and I explained, I was like, you don't have to forgive me. You can be as angry as you want. You could even hit me if you want. I just, like, I think I said that at the very least. That's something I definitely would say. But I said, you don't have to forgive me in any capacity. And if you hate me, I understand. You don't, like, I wouldn't judge you for hating me. And if anything, I think you deserve the right to, because that was a cunt move of me, and I'm really fucking sorry. And he seemed touched, and he actually did forgive me, because I guess he was like, oh yeah, He thought I was just gonna lie or pretend that I didn't, but I guess I took him off guard because he didn't expect me to just openly admit that I did something fucked up. I did. I did. And he was nice about it. And he did talk to me about how it did fuck up his life for a bit and how, like, it did kind of mess up his bond with his parents and stuff. But that led to an interesting series of events. And let's just say me and him stayed in touch for another, like, let's say 3, 4, if not 5 years. Let's just say our last conversation was like a few months ago, basically. Or no, like a month ago. Yeah, I forgot we ended things officially in November. And one, it's like debatable on if, like, I'd say I recovered from my sins, and then I also kind of trauma bonded with him for a lot of reasons. But I know that when his family did get hit, like all headstrong, and they were trying to ground him and put him on punishment, despite him being like, like 22 at the time, like a grown fucking man, I was the one that was like, hey, listen, no. Your parents are trying to shame you for having sex. Whole time you were born out of wedlock, and they have two different fucking like your brother and you don't even have matching dads. I'm just saying they need to shut the fuck up. Like, you did nothing wrong. You didn't get me pregnant. Everything is fine between us. You had sex. It's a natural urge that people do when they're attracted to one another. You're not gonna go to hell. Hell doesn't even fucking exist if we want to go there. And I told him it's like your parents are fucking hypocrites because bet your ass they have sex all the fucking time and they did so without marriage, without a ring, all that shit. And you know that for sure. Like, all of that. And I remember I just straight up, like, he appreciated that I was there for him. I called him and texted him when he didn't really have anyone else. Not like he reached out to many people. And at some point I was like, he was talking about how he just hates feeling trapped in his own place because it feels like he's just hopeless and helpless and just supposed to be locked in the house all the time. Me, even though I know it's not technically the most good thing to do, I figured it's still good for the sake of, like, the ends justify the means. I texted him, I was like, come meet me outside right now. He's like, what? And I said, come meet me outside. You know where the keys are. You have your own house keys. Just silently sneak out, pull your car out, turn off the headlights, and then just drive out quietly. Then come meet me and fuck the shit out of me in your car. You're a grown man. Reclaim your life. Do what makes you happy. You don't have to feel trapped just because they tell you to. And you need to get some independence. He was like, are you sure? Are you sure that's a good idea? I said, what's to lose? Otherwise, you're going to spend the whole night horny as fuck anyway at your house not doing shit. And he listened to what I said. We fucked really goddamn good in his car. It was stellar as fucking always. And then that led to him having a bit of a rebellious streak with his overbearing parents, but it worked in his highest good because it made him change his opinions on, like, religious guilt and sexual shame and how he perceives himself and his confidence and his hopelessness. One can debate on if he's a good person or not because let's just say let's just say any years following that, though, he was not there for me when I was suicidal and needed it. And this ties into what I first said. He would be at home with nothing to do, complaining about being bored. I would be at home suicidal and distressed and really going through it. And then it's like all he would have to do is pick me up and take me on a drive or whatever. Or just hang out with me for a little bit. I'm trying not to start crying because it's like 4:30 a.m. I'll just say, bet your fucking ass. He did not. He was not there for me. And I guess I can say I'm a good person to the point where it's like, even when it's not the most good for me. Because when he was crying and suffering and miserable, I let him cry into my chest and lay there for hours and cuddle me and snuggle against me and watch sunrises with him. If I knew it could at least sort of help out this useless fucking stupid man. But he was the type of guy where he wasn't very nice. He was the type of guy where he knew I was struggling and suffering and miserable. And he'd be like, I'm going to take myself on a drive and not pick up Tamia even though she doesn't even live that far. She says she's going through a hard time. I'm not going to be there to text or call. Anyway. Also, for another reference, yes, this is the same JC Juan Carlos, the guy who I talked about almost killing a few videos ago. If anyone remembers that, kudos to you. God bless you for watching that video. That was a long one, just like this one. Obviously, Juan Carlos is not dead, but let's just say, let's just say I kind of repeated a similar thing that I already did before. And if you're like, why did you do that? I thought to myself, I don't react well when I'm treated useless, and I don't like when my feelings are fucked with. And because I'm not always a good person myself, I'm not always the nicest, the sweetest, the goodest. Sometimes I, like anyone else, have the capacity to be evil, mean, fucked up, thoughtless, rude, and hurtful. And sometimes I even want that. So what can I say? Hmm. I guess this ties back into the music producer guy. I guess I'll mention it for the sake of this video. Me and the music producer guy got to talking and stuff. Obviously, and it went past just like sexting. Or at least mostly. He hit me up. He was like, would you like to get on a video call with me and I show you the music I'm working on? And I was like, sure. Yeah, why not? We both thought it would be like a simple 5 or 10 minutes and kind of awkward, but instead it led to like 5 hours of just really good, free flowing conversation and vibes and energy, and it was wonderful. And he made me feel so happy that I haven't felt that amount of happiness in fucking ages. It's been a terrible fucking year, so I gotta say, if you really managed to just like show up and make my life feel so wonderful like that, it's gonna have a large emotional force within me. And one can say I'm a nice person, maybe, because they can be like, oh, look, she. Oh, but me and the sexy music producer guy, me and him, yeah, it was a wonderful time and it sparked a lot in me. I can say that I was a nice person, probably because it's like, hey, look, he told me a lot of stuff about himself, secrets, or maybe not so much secrets, but he was like, yeah, I got out of a mental hospital semi recently, and he told me about his self-harm and some really traumatic bad stuff that happened to him, and I still respect him, so I'm not gonna repeat certain things, even though I doubt he would even watch a video like this fucking long, because no offense, he was the type of idiot that either entirely ignored my other social media, which is full of like obvious red flags about how I'm mentally unstable and all the things I hate, all the things I love, all that. He didn't take any interest in that at all, but I took interest in him. He was a very thoughtless man who decided, yep, or he would just really saw all the shit and thought that he would be exempt. But either way, let's just say I don't think it's very nice if you see a lady who just wants like friendship or like affection that is not abusive or manipulative or weird, and you know damn well that you aren't willing to provide that, but you try to put on a facade and pretend you will anyway. But I like to pretend that the phone call we had was real. I like to think that his blushing and his flirting and everything was real, but I still kind of knew to myself there's a limit on his capacity with me, because he wants to feel interesting and I make him feel interesting, but he's not asking much about me, and I have to say things about myself, and even then they kind of get brushed off. So I could tell what type of person he was. And boy, are those types of people annoying. But even then, I still valued the positive attention and conversation. And to sum up the rest of this, let's just say he was yeah, I think he did start to like me at some point. Maybe I'm just telling myself that to be comfortable, but at the same time, I'm gonna say it. I think he really did at some point have feelings for me. He was texting me faster, and anytime he didn't text me back super fast or a bunch, he would profusely apologize. Even when I said it was fine and that I wasn't tripping, he would still keep apologizing for like hella minutes. And he was trying to like be like, "Good morning. Oh, I'll give you all the attention you deserve tomorrow." Da 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 da, and like making a little bit of a bigger hoa out of things, and not like I was scared because I liked him, but I was afraid to like him because, mind you, he's a fucking like white boy, fucking 6'2", nose ring, green eyes, SoundCloud rapper, X fan, J. Cole fan, and he makes music talking about like how he sings to himself as he plays all the bitches and all that shit. I'm just simply saying, it's like nigga, just it's like you expect a nigga like that to be a good person? Exactly. I was like, I just thought to myself, it's safer not to get too attached to him. But a friend of mine did contact me, funny enough, and she was like, oh, you mean to tell me that he's messaging you super fast on his own accord, and he wants to make music with you, and he'd like, he's really flirty and he's like being more charming and like it seems like he really really likes you. I think you should not be afraid of love and give it a chance. Like let it come to you, and even if it doesn't work out, it doesn't take away the value of what you had. And I said, "Thank you. That sounds great." And then guess what? I want you to guess what happened. He had lashed out at me. A part of me wants to reread the messages to see if it was maybe just like him potentially being autistic, like it's suspected he might be on the spectrum like I am. But he either very much mishandled communication and just was burnt out and kind of like popping off and didn't realize how fucked up he sounded, but I doubt that. It seemed intentional the way he got disrespectful. He blew up at me super fucking hard and I hated it so much. And it really did break me a lot more than I thought. I remember that as soon as me and him stopped talking that night, I immediately just broke down fucking crying. And I'm not talking like shedding tears and gentle, I'm talking like full on heaving from the chest level sobbing, damn near guttural sobbing. Like I'm a fucking 4-year old that fucking, I don't know, scraped her knee on the playground or something. And I felt sad and pathetic and annoyed because it's like, look at me, I'm out here giving more people chances to to hurt me again, and it's embarrassing. And it sucked. God damn it. But I'll put it to you like this. I let's just say I sometimes can be too nice for my own good. Since as time went on, I just thought to myself, he hasn't looked at any of my voice messages, and if he has me on restricted mode. And just I don't know, time passed and we hadn't been talking and I kind of missed him, and I thought to myself, okay, he doesn't seem like he's the most emotionally mature, but I am wondering, does he hate me? Did he just fucking hate me this whole time and he just couldn't, like, it was just all some sort of weird convoluted act to try to keep my sexual attention, and or like was some, I don't know, there's a million directions. The one I like to think is that maybe he did at some point have feelings for me, but he just got scared of his own emotions and how much he liked me and he started projecting. That's what I like to think. And that's what I will stick with for now because any other narrative will make my head spin. Let's just say I gave it time and I reached out and I said, I'm sorry for what I said in return to like your lashing out. I should have not said that about your hairline, and I would love it to still make music with you because I still think you're a musical talent regardless of if we have a close bond or not. And he said, yeah, sure. And I got excited. I was like, I could work with this. And I sent him a sample of me singing or trying to, and spitballed the idea. And then like 3 days passed of like very extremely minimal contact, and I just got so anxious. And eventually I thought to myself, I really do like this man. I don't think I need it. I don't need it to be sexual. I don't need it to be romantic, but I feel a strong connection to this guy because we have a lot in common. And like he seems great and talented, a jack of all trades, master of damn near every fucking trade as well. And then not to mention he was exactly my type and very interesting, and I just thought I want to hear him out. And I remember I debated with myself so hard. I was like, do I, how do I handle this? Because what if he just doesn't care? But I ripped off the band-aid and I just was like, after a lot of paragraph drafting where I thought, should I be nice and sweet and overly thoughtful? Because that's got my feelings stomped on before. Or should I get abrasive and blunt and like defensive and maybe even a bit chastising, like I'm nagging him? Which one is better? It's like, which one is the lesser of two evils? Which one will hurt me less? I'm tired of getting hurt, and I don't react well when I get hurt, and I know that, and I don't want to hurt other people because I want to be good and I want to be nice. Let's just say I eventually scrapped every draft and then just said, hi, is it okay if we have time to talk about what happened? He said, yeah, sure, in a few days. And then like I think one single day passed or less, and I just had like the biggest fucking panic attack, and I thought to myself, I don't want time to pass just for me to be stressed out and panicking for 3 days straight over this situation. I can't handle that. So I just ripped off the band-aid and I said, fuck it, no more being nice. Because he didn't hesitate to fucking not be mean to me before and hostile, and I didn't fucking deserve that. I communicated every step of the way, and he lashed out on me and didn't care about how it would affect me. So let me go ahead and I ripped off the band-aid. I was like, it wasn't cool what you did. And he was like, yeah, it wasn't. And then we talked. And let's just say he said some things that were, like, I almost fully got over it all. Like, when he said he was thinking about going back with his ex and focusing on himself, I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Because I don't own him. When he said he didn't like himself and he thinks it's easier for other people to hate him and he has issues addressing his needs and stuff, I was willing to overlook that because I cared and wanted to make sure he felt emotionally prioritized. And if anything, I made sure I focused on the fact that my rage and sadness was rooted in feeling sad that he didn't feel like he could trust me, and that he felt like he had to lash out at me and blow up and hide his emotions and feelings and intentionally try to hurt me, versus feeling like he could have communicated any boundaries or wants or needs to me way sooner and way nicer. But at some point, certain things came up, like the fact that I almost killed myself over it, and how badly it affected me, and like a few other things. Let's just say he didn't offer any sort of apology, and then the niceness in me started to go away. I thought, why am I being so nice to someone and caring to someone who doesn't give a single fuck about me? They don't give a single fuck about me. And then, like, it's time, like, and I just said, like, several times, I said, like, twice, if not three times, I said, you have a disturbing lack of care in how people are affected by your actions and others, dude. That's not normal. Like, all I want is an apology. And he still didn't give one. Still didn't give one. He gave excuses. He gave bullshit fucking back talk. And let's just say, by the time he got around to actually sort of apologizing to me, it was already too late. I did what I did to Juan Carlos to him, and I feel bad about it, or felt bad about it. Me felt. But let's just say, yeah. And I haven't read the music producer's last messages to me, because I thought to myself, it probably doesn't fucking matter. He didn't care what I had to say any step of this fucking way. He didn't do any bare minimum research before trying to get involved with me and do the very thing I hated. He brought in drama when I wanted it drama free. He brought in unnecessary stress and damn near verbally abusive behavior and mind games and gaslighting and projection and pain. And how come he gets to be the only person who gets to walk away from this happy? Like, he gets to go back to his friends and his nice life and whatever the fuck else. And I was already struggling so bad, and I felt bliss again when I started talking to him, and like, it broke me a certain way. I thought he was different. I thought he was better. And I get it. He is only human. So I still don't hate him. And he did enough good. And he still tried. Because, mind you, like, I hit him up before 3 days even passed. And I just was like, this was fucked up, and this is what I feel fucked up about. And he didn't even make me wait long for a reply. I think it was like within 10 minutes, he was like, yes, I'm really, like, yeah, like, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, that was very rough of me. He didn't apologize, but he did very much, like, he took us like a small amount of accountability. It was still kind of dismissive though, and like not fully like showing that he felt bad about it. He was just acknowledging that it happened. But some people can't even do that. Like, I've had niggas like full on vape in my face and stare at the floor as I try to talk to them, or like leave me on red or ghost me for days, and he didn't. And so I feel bad about what I did, and just, I don't know. Also, it's not very good, and it probably doesn't prove that I'm much of a safe person if, like, when I felt disgruntled and betrayed and hurt and shocked, like, yes, of course, he didn't need to do any of that. He should have been a much nicer, kinder man. He should have consistently shown interest in my life. He should have consistently actually put in the effort to, like, I don't know, fucking communicate and not just, I don't know. There's a lot he could have done different, and I probably shouldn't have entertained him so long. But let's just say I'm still grateful. He made me a certain level of happy in a time that I needed it, so I can't hate him. I never can, probably. Or, well, maybe. I can certainly dislike him very strongly, but I really appreciated it. Getting to know him, and he is a great music producer. His music actually cheers me up a lot. Anyway, he didn't need to hurt me, but he also didn't need inherently to respond to me, reply to me, or anything. The sad thing is, after I already did what I did when I contacted his family with a whole bunch of really, really bad stuff, and I feel so sorry about it. Even though it also felt good, I sadly must admit that. I'll put it to you like this: only after I finally got done doing what I did I realize that a message of his had loaded where I guess he did finally get around to apologizing to me. It was still a little half-assed and still not the most effort was put into it, but it seemed like he meant it mostly genuinely, or at least sort of. Hard to say to this day. But either way, he did eventually apologize. And then I just said, "Oh shit, I'm a little annoyed that I didn't see this message like 2 minutes sooner. It probably could have stopped me from doing what I just did. I'm sorry in advance for whatever happens to you, and I feel really bad about it, and I hate that we ever met, but I am glad that we did, and I really hope that what happens next for you isn't bad." He didn't understand what I meant, even though I had hinted at it several times that I was going to fucking do something really bad to him, because I'm not always the best person myself. Let's just say he, sorry, I'm a little phlegmy. Let's just say it kind of broke my heart that after I sent that final message, he said, "Yeah, you too, and if you ever change your mind, I would love to, or I would still be down to make a song with you. Let me know if you ever change your mind, and best of luck going forward." And he also made it clear that he had no ill will or no bad feelings towards me. And that's probably one of the most heartbreaking things you can see way too late when you already did something that you know will fuck up shit with their family, you know? Um, and I guess I have enough of moral code or whatever. I just texted him, "That's really sweet of you to say, but I just got done contacting your family." And then I didn't, and then I just put him in restricted. He sent me a few more messages. I didn't bother to read them, but he did block me at some point. A smart call. And I spent most of today, because I guess I still have some niceness in me. I spent most of today and yesterday just simmering about it and feeling all sorts of angry emotions. Like, one second I was angry at him for putting me in that position, the next second I was angry at myself for worsening it like times 100 by betraying his trust and probably severing a tie forever. Like, yes, he was a disrespectful fuckboy, but he wasn't the most disrespectful fuckboy I'd ever met. If anything, he was probably the one of the lowest on the spectrum, all things considered, for disrespect, I mean. And I didn't have to do that, and maybe I didn't need to be in contact with him, but I didn't need to hurt him so bad. But I guess in my mind, I have a vengeful spirit at times, and I thought to myself, I want to not, like, I didn't want to be the only one who learned the lesson of, oh, you know what? Focus on yourself, because there are crazy motherfuckers out here who will set you way back mentally. I didn't want to be the only one who would fantasize about cutting themselves with glass. I didn't want to be the only fucking one who had to stay up late at night fucking anxious and sad and confused and hurt and depressed because some dumbass motherfucker felt strangely and decided to act strangely in a way that changed everything for me. And so I did what I did because I didn't want to feel that way alone. I wanted to do that to him. And that's not a good thing, that's not a nice thing, but I guess I still have something in me because it's like, I know that I want to do better. And a part of me is still concerned for him. Not like I can keep tabs on him. He blocked me on Instagram, and so all my accounts are blocked. And then aside from that, it's his page is private. But I'm sure he's fine and he's alive, you know? And he still has the ex he's gonna get back with and a bunch of friends and a nice life and a good job and all that, and he's gonna be doing well, so I shouldn't beat myself up too bad about it because I have a million other things I've been beating myself up about already. And on top of that, he is an okay fella, and I still strive for good for him. And I don't hate him. But yeah, that was bad. And a foolish part of me is still a little optimistic just because with my ex Morgan, like, plenty of times we've done terrible things to each other, but we still stayed in touch for years after. Same for me and JC, same for me and Marco, same for me and like plenty of other people. It's not my first rodeo, not my first time doing this, no, not at all. Simply put, even like the guy I punched in the face when I was 19, even he, I remember like I gave it a month, and next thing you know, we were having sex and cuddling in bed and all that again. And sometimes my forms of revenge or just doesn't even always fuck up someone's life. It could just mildly upset them. So, for all I know, I told myself, don't feel too bad about it, as long as you feel bad enough to not want to do it again. And I told myself I should probably stop dating entirely. No, not even a harmless crush, because it's unsafe for me and it's unsafe with them. And I don't want to be bad to anyone else, and I deserve the best for myself and not some whack shit like that ever again. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I talked to myself and addressed what I should change going forward and preventative measures to stop that from happening again. And I reminded myself I'm just a person. And I have plenty of things about myself that I am working on and planning to improve. And I'll get there. And so will he. One day he will figure, like I've listened to his music, one day he'll figure out how to be trusting in love and how to not have attachment and commitment issues and how to like himself. And, I heard him out before I had my own blow up and like at him and before the shit got fucked up, most recently. I heard him out because I thought to myself, I care about how I feel, but I also want to make sure that he feels heard. Because if he probably lashed out the way he did because he didn't know if I would still like him or if he could be heard safely or anything like that. And I think he would deserve that. And it really, so I guess I am a good person because at my core and at my heart, I knew I tried the best that I could. Maybe it wasn't the absolute best of the best of the best, but it was still pretty damn solid. I saw a man who lashed out at me, and instead of trying to punish him off the bat, I decided I want to hear why he did that. I want to know why he felt unsafe. I want to know why he felt nervous. I want to know how I can make him feel better so we can have a loving, trusting, platonic, awesome bond going forward. And I probably won't have that bond again, and we probably won't have another 5-hour video call or whatever, but it's okay. I still very much love and cherish that we ever met. And I guess the whole reason I'm making this video is because a second ago, me and him, like, how do I put this? I was stressed today, and I thought to myself, I still feel depressed over me cutting him off, or whoever cut off whoever, however you phrase it. And I told myself I should just stay in tonight. Plus, I was hungover. So, I made dinner and I relaxed, or tried my best to, and I guess I had a weird gut feeling. I was like, I'm gonna look up the music producer's music page and listen to some of his songs because for some reason listening to his music, even at my most sad, it makes me happy. And then, oh look, he released an album of music. It actually was the album of music that he showed me like a week or so before, that we listened to together for 5 hours, where he also showed me his most intense, depressing, even most secretive music, and he blushed during those 5 hours really hard, and he was so ecstatic whenever I would like ask him the song name, and he would unprivate songs that he didn't want anyone else to see, and he would just be so happy that I liked it. And I don't know, I thought to myself, why did he release the album tonight? It doesn't make any sense. He said he was going to release it in like a month or two, but I guess he released it tonight. And I guess I am a good enough person because I kind of thought I should listen to this just to see if he's like mentally stable or if he's gonna do anything. Like, I would hate it if he's like, I'm gonna release this album I'm not satisfied with before I kill myself or something. I would hate for something like that. But also, I semi selfishly thought to myself, I want to just listen to the music. And I did. And I had a wonderful time, and I felt bittersweet, but mostly happy listening to all the songs that I remember telling him about the vibes of. He had a song called Die Any Moment, and it's a beautiful song. And I remember the way he laughed his ass off when I said, man, this is one of those like sexy songs where you two-step on the beach and shit. Like, the lyrics are depressing as hell, but it's a really great song. It's giving controller vibes, and he laughed his ass off hearing that. And I'll still always cherish the way he smiled and blushed, and how it made me feel good to make him feel good, and all that. And I remember that night a few weeks ago when we had that 5 hour video call. I guess thought I thought to myself, I am getting tired, and I had a throbbing headache, and I was overstimulated because I'm autistic. And it was the music was playing on my speakers, and not every single song was a banger, but enough were. And I thought to myself, I want to be nice, so let me go ahead and like let him play his music. Let him play as much of his music as he likes. Not just because it makes me happy, because I get the feeling he really needs to be happy again. Because I knew he had really intense anxiety and stuff. And I guess I still can tell I'm a good person because I feel really bad about what I did, because I know he has intense anxiety and I know what he does to himself, and I don't know. I guess I'm scared that he could have done anything worse to himself because of what I did. Like, in hindsight, maybe it's not the best idea to try to look for ways to torment an already anxious, burnt out, potentially autistic individual, I'll admit. I can't take back the past, though, but I can only go forward. Oh, this was also going to be a plot point I was going to say. Oh, and also, it was nice of him to decide that, hey, this girl who's seen casual pics and videos of my dick and I've talked to casually about sex, I'm gonna just like talk to her endlessly for like several hours and tell her everything about my life from top to bottom, even secrets, and I'm gonna feel. And I liked that a lot. I don't know if he liked it as much as I did, but it seemed like he did because he wouldn't stop saying how much it meant to me being on the phone with him that day. It was a beautiful time and I cherish it highly. Anyway, but I guess I still care, and I hope he's okay. Even though a part of me does like the idea of him not being okay. I don't mean like in the sense of harming himself or doing anything bad to himself. I mean so far in the I like that I'm not suffering alone. And I like when other people are scared or hurt. I know that I'm not the best person at times. Sometimes I enjoy seeing kids fall in public. But I still will feel bad if they scrape their knee and care if they scrape their knee. So I don't think I'm a bad person. I think I'm a flawed person. Definitely, but still beautiful and still awesome in a lot of ways. Like, there's a lot of things that are just contrasting, and I don't know, that's how humans are. Anyway, so I think niceness and badness can be sometimes like, niceness to me is just something that I can do on a whim. Like, it could just be like, hey, I feel like being nice today because it's Tuesday and it's at 2 p.m. So why not? It's like, hey, I got this pocket full of like fucking $10 in coins. I can give it to this homeless guy. Why not? It's like, I ain't got shit better to do and I lose nothing by doing it. But I've also done evil with that same thing. I've decided, you know what? I have all these phone numbers and all these secrets and all this information about someone I hate, and I'm bored and it's a Tuesday at 2 p.m. and I feel like shit, so I might as well do it. So I don't know. Like, I guess that's why I question my own moral goodness. But maybe moral has nothing to do with it. Maybe it's just how I feel at my core and what I feel like doing. And sometimes I like to think I have a strict moral code, but other times, I don't know. Sometimes it can be very fluid, but I suppose even I'm not exempt from that, because even when I can tell I've done bad, I punish myself. Like, you should have seen how long it took me to actually let myself get up today, and let's just say, considering it's like 5 a.m., I didn't exactly have the most luck getting up at all, because I'm awake, totally wide awake, as if it's like the fucking afternoon, so. And yeah, sometimes I do good and bad on a whim. Plenty of times. Sometimes I'm able to just turn off my emotions and do whatever, just because I feel like it. I'm like, hell. When he was like, hey, do you want to see videos and pictures of my dick? I was like, eh, what the hell, sure. Like, eh, it's like, okay, surprise reward for being nice, I guess. I don't need it, though, and it's a cool option, but, yeah. And, I don't know. Uh, like, I remember, funny enough, this ties back, in special ed class in high school, there was this girl, Chazia. She, I would say, was a flawed and bad person, because she was like 17 and dated like two 12-year-olds. She was nasty. It's weird that my high school teacher just totally, like, just no one addressed that whatsoever. It was disgusting. But I will say this. Me and Chazia had a falling out, obviously. She was a friend that I had mainly because there was no other safe person in that class for me to be around, because, mind you, it's a classroom full of predators and creeps, and stupid, incompetent teachers who were enablers and predators and creeps. So I suffered. She was like a safe-ish space, but even then, not really. And I remember that with her specifically, we had a falling out, and it was real bad, like super bad, terrible bad. But at some point, William, the kid I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, the one who was in special ed, he lashed. He was going on one of his little conservative Republican rants about like how women who get abortions are fucking baby killing whores and all that. And I was just laughing it off because he was going ham as fuck for no reason until I noticed Chazia in the corner of the classroom with tears welling up in her eyes and her lips all pouty. And then I remembered, oh shit, right, she did get an abortion. I forgot she told me that. And then I kind of was like, fuck, now I have to get involved. Did I have to get involved? No, but my moral code demanded it. So I told him, I was like, listen, you got to shut the fuck up. Stop saying this. Like, no, some people had abortions for very good reasons, and some of us needed to have abortions, and blah, blah, blah. And when he didn't shut the fuck up, I did the totally responsible, mature thing that you could expect, and I plugged in a speaker and I started blasting Suck My Dick by Lil Kim. And no matter what people say, we've got it going on by Lil Kim at the top, like maximum volume until he shut the fuck up and got frustrated. But Shazia seemed to appreciate that. And then weeks later, towards the end of the school year, when she bought cupcakes for everyone to enjoy, I took a photo of her of like the cupcakes because I heard she wanted to go to culinary school, and I sent it to her and said, "This is for your portfolio, so you can apply to culinary school." And she thanked me for it, and she seemed to have appreciated it. We weren't friends, of course, definitely not, but it was civil, leaning to positive. And I'm the type of person where even if I see a person where, like, how do I put this? I have enemies on this planet, and I have had people who I've stopped being friends with. I have friends where I can say, yeah, she was the dumbest bitch like, I have some friends where I can be like, Sammy was the dumbest bitch I ever fucking met. And she had no self-esteem or respect for herself, but boy oh boy was she a lovely, sweet, thoughtful, amazing young lady. And she is still one of the nicest souls I've ever met on this fucking planet, even though she had her flaws. I still, like, I've, like, and I guess it's the beauty of life is the confusion parts. Like that friend I had, I remember that whenever they were suicidal as fuck, it didn't matter what it was or how many times they were fucking having a meltdown over anything big or small, I still picked up the phone as many times as I could and just let them fucking cry and get it out and talked and gave advice and said comforting words and as many times as I could until it stopped them from crying. We stopped being friends recently because they couldn't reciprocate the favor, but fuck them. Life goes on and I don't need that energy, but it's good to know that I at least have the ability within me to like be a loving person to myself and to others. And yeah, that's the complexities of life. But sometimes I do things like that are good just as thoughtlessly as I do things that are bad. But I guess what makes someone decide if they're good or bad or not is if they try to redeem for their mistakes. Like if you were a shitty husband and you're trying to get better, good for you. If you were a shitty lover and you're trying to get better, good for you. Like as long as you don't try to stay stuck or adamant that you've never done anything wrong. And admitting your mistakes is the biggest way of growing as a person and recognizing are you truly good or truly bad. I'm just saying. Now, also some people love you no matter what you are. That's this another scary thing about life, but we could save that for another video. Now to end this video, the whole reason I made this video is because the music producer I had a crush on, I suppose when I was just gonna watch like the same little YouTube video I've seen of him for like, what, the 50th time? That's probably a massive understatement. More like the 1000th time. Knowing me. That's how I noticed he released his new album, and I listened to it on Spotify, and then I looked on YouTube and stuff, and I was like, yeah, this dude still doesn't have a lot of subscribers or anything. I should, like, contact him. But mind you, he blocked me on anything, and I don't have his phone number, and, like, like, yeah. So I thought to myself, I can do one of two things. I can send a friend request on Discord, but even then I would feel annoyed or anxious or spiteful or sad or depressed or whatever if he didn't respond to me or added me on Discord just to say something mean or whatever the fuck. And I thought to myself, okay, I need to do it in a way where I can just at least say I did it and I don't need anything more from him. Just like before with his apartment flooding, where it can just be me doing something just because I think it could help someone else. So I just left a comment and I was like, hey, just so you know, you should probably like on one of like he has like 2 pages. I commented on the one that has an open comment section and I was like, hey, just so you know, you should probably make your most recent album like open up the comments. If you're afraid of getting hate comments, just don't check your notifications, but I trust you, it'll be worth it. Because I've had videos where I left the comments on and then those videos have like 100K views because even the hate was good publicity, you know? Even bad publicity can be good publicity. And I would want you to grow as an artist and make sure your recent album doesn't flop, because it is a really good album. He's a talented artist, even though he uses way too much auto-tune, but still. And yeah, I did that just to be nice, just because I think that could be nice. Amen. Also, I like, yeah. And I guess if you watch this, just think of ways you could be nice to yourself and others. What are some things you could do for yourself that you haven't? Like, do you have a really nice tea or like honey or like some clothing you haven't worn out yet because you are saving it for a special occasion? Or like a nice like bath product or like activity or like something you've been meaning to splurge on or try? Maybe give it a try. I think you deserve it. You should be nice to yourself first of all. Teaching yourself kindness is how you know there's kindness still left in the world, because it's within you. And you are showing yourself love, and that means you're capable of giving others love just the same way. And then think of ways you could be nice to other people. Like, you could go to a comedy open mic and sit front row and like focus on the person's jokes and laugh and clap whenever a performer does well, and like nod your head even just to show that you're still listening and supporting them. You could like join a random live stream of someone totally new that you've never met before and like leave a positive comment and wish them a good day. It'll make their fucking day, I promise you. I did that one day and that's how I got a nice long-term little friend in the UK. And it was just from harmlessly watching their little Grand Theft Auto videos on this on live. You can like offer to help someone when you have the chance. You can do a sweet favor. You could try your best. And as long as you keep trying your best with almost every situation you're in, then I'd say you're still a very good, loving, lovable person. Always remember that. And even when you don't think you're lovable, even when you're like, I don't know, I'm rough around the edges, I'm complicated, I'm messy, I'm fucked up, just remember you're still lovable. Trust me. Because even after this dude, like, kind of made me mentally snap, and even after tons of people made me mentally snap, I hate to say it, it still took a while to get me to stop caring about them. And then even for the music producer dude, like, I got hurt really badly by his actions, but he still, like, I'll put it this way. I still very much saw him for what I recognize he is, that he can't see within himself, and I admire him all the same. I don't need to own him. I don't need to date him. I don't need anything romantic from him. And frankly, I don't even think I need a reply from him tonight. As long as I could make his life a little nicer like he made mine, I think that works. Because that's how the world functions. Being nice because it's for the sake of a higher good. And knowing that almost everyone, almost all people are good. Like I remember even elementary school, middle school, I had bullies who were fucking assholes, but then guess what? The second they heard I liked the same show as them, they started being nice. Or if I tripped and fell on a field trip in a mud puddle and scarred up my knees and fell down, guess what? They looked over their shoulder, rolled their eyes, and helped me up, even though they had no reason to. And that's the beauty of the world. It's niceness. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, and peace out. Hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.